So I played Eco again in preparation to play Shadow of the Colossus and the Last Guardian, which I have here, which I'll be reviewing later on. So keep an eye out for those later. Uh, but yeah, Eco. So Eco is this game that so my friend group basically that we were gonna do a video about this way back when we had our podcast series, which only ever lasted one podcast. The second podcast was supposed to be Eco versus Shadow of the Colossus, which was better. And me and my friend Jameson were gonna argue for Eco, and then my friend John and then Nick there were gonna argue for Shadow of the Colossus, but we never actually ended up doing that. And now it's like never gonna happen. Probably, maybe, I don't know. Could happen. That'd be pretty cool if it happened. I still thought that was a pretty cool argument. Um, and at the time, yeah, that's what I thought was Eco was better than Shadow of the Colossus. Now I'm gonna give them all a kind of fair reevaluation, which so yeah, so I played this game. It was definitely a few years ago, probably like 2000. I should have looked this up for the video, but I did a review of it, not here on YouTube, but like I used to write out reviews and whatnot. Um, Very brief review, if I remember correctly. I didn't think I really talked about it much. I basically just said, go watch the Matthew Matosis video, which I'll also recommend here. Just like go watch the Matthew Matosis video and the one on Shadow of the Colossus because they're actually really good. But because I'll just be giving some like brief stuff about the game. He goes like really in depth about it. I don't have a whole ton to say, but I have a few things to say because the game is good, but there's just not a lot to say about it. You know what I mean? Whereas like something with Shadow of the Colossus, like next time, I'll be, I can argue each individual Colossus and be like, okay, well this one I like because of this reason and that and whatnot, and yeah, and I got a good plan for that. So, anyway, that's for the next video. But okay, so Shadow of the Shadow of the Colossus, it's overshadowing Eco. Basically, Eco is a game by Team Eco. They're actually called Team Eco instead of like Team Shadow of the Colossus or something because like this was their first game. So yeah, it's by Team Eco. They only ever made these three games as far as I know. So, um, and I remember I heard about this game like a long time ago. I used to be a really big listener of the All Gen Gamers podcast when that was a really big thing, and I used to love Pete Doerr's channel when he was still really uploading videos a lot more. Um, and this is his favorite game of all time is Eco, which is pretty big, you know. Nowadays, I don't know what I should believe with that guy because he also likes PUBG 3D and a bunch of the really bad Sonic games. So, uh, to each his own, I suppose. But geez, I mean that's something. But back then, I thought, okay, well, this looks interesting. This looks like an interesting game. Always heard a lot about Shadow of the Colossus or whatever. So I thought I'd give it a shot. Eventually, I picked up this collection. I don't even remember when this was released, but I picked it up, probably far after that for like $10 or something. I think this might have even been GameStop. I don't know. It might have been Disc Replay. I'm not actually sure. Um, I want to think it was GameStop for some reason. I don't know if I knew about Disc Replay back then. Maybe I did. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I picked it up for really cheap. It was like 10 or less dollars, which is really good deal for both of these games. Now, like Eco is a pretty short game. It's like a 6 to 7 hour game if you really don't know what you're doing, or if you kind of know what you're doing, or if you kind of have a feel for a game like this. I was pretty stuck on a lot of stuff replaying it again this time because it was years ago when I replayed it. I replayed it. I played through it originally and then I played through it again because of the audio stuff that you could do, and I wanted to get like the lightsaber and some of the there's like secrets in this game like sometimes where you can like go do this whole big side quest to get this lightsaber or something. I don't even remember how you do it. You can look it up or whatever. But I wanted to do that. So second time around, once you beat the game, you can go back through the other. So there's two characters. There's Eco. Eco, is that his name? Well, he's the boy with horns. I don't know. I was just thinking of him as Eco, but it's like calling Link Zelda or something. But um, the kid with the boy with the horns, and then there's Yorda. I guess his name's Eco. I don't know. I'm just gonna call him Eco. Otherwise, what would the name of the game mean? Like Eco, like from Jack and Daxter. Anyway, So there's Iko and Yorda. Yorda's this girl. He finds this girl. She's in this cage or whatever, and he like wants to go and save her and get her out of this castle or whatever. So it's like this whole big adventure thing, and it's like this cute like romance thing at the same time. You know they don't. But the thing is, they don't understand each other. That's what I was getting at with this. Is that they can't speak each other's languages. But on the second playthrough of the game, like in the first playthrough, it's all just symbols, I think, or whatever. I don't remember because this time around I did have the audio and the dialogue of Yorda, but it's just little things. It's not even that like grand or grandiose. I mean, the story's more about the uh, the atmosphere and the aesthetic of the game. That's more the emotional journey. It's more of a wordless thing, but like so you kind of make your own story, much like Shadow of the Colossus. You kind of have to interpret what's actually going on in the story, which is fine. I mean, I like those kind of games, like where you have to kind of think about it and make your own conclusions to it and whatnot. But so yeah, Yorda and Iko can't understand each other, but there's still human interactions there. He holds her hand to bring her along. He yells something at her, and she like knows that means come to where I am or whatever, or something similar to that. And she'll sometimes yell something back, which like means that she can't go to wherever you are or whatever. So it's kind of it's this really big like puzzle game is really what it is. It's like sort of an adventure puzzle game. It's like if you took Zelda and then you put like you just made the whole thing one dungeon inside of this castle and you have a girl. Like if Zelda was there with you the whole time, which kind of looks like what the new Zelda might be, which I don't think that's what it's gonna be, but that would be interesting if Zelda was like you could like bring her along on your journey with you or whatever. That'd be pretty cool. Um, so yeah, definitely. If you know, so yeah, you go on through the game. There's a bunch of like sort of basic, but like sort of still complex puzzles. Like they get harder as it goes on. There's block moving puzzles and stuff, and switches and stuff. But you have to kind of it's sort of like Uncharted, where you have to kind of figure out where in the environment you can jump to and stuff, and you can like climb on different stuff and jump to little ledges and pull yourself to other areas and stuff. So it's up to you to kind of figure these things out and figure out what you can do with what in the area that you're presented. And you can never get too far away from Yorda because there's these shadows, which are the enemies in the game, which will come and kind of take her back if you get too many rooms away from her or whatever. If you leave her alone for too long, if you're in the same room as her or the same like area as her, the shadows won't come and take her away. But if you stay in a different room for too long, then you're risking the chance of them coming and taking it away. So there's always kind of this ticking time bomb, which is interesting. Um, but yeah, overall, it's really cool because you kind of go through it, and you start out with like a 2x4 as your weapon. I don't know what you want to call it. I was gonna say a stick or a branch, but it's not that. It's a piece of wood basically. So it's not as effective. It takes a lot of strikes to kill down the shadows or whatever before they can come and take Yorda. And that's kind of the thing of this game. You do puzzles, and then you got to figure out how to get Yorda through things because she can't do quite as much. She can climb things, and that's about it. And you can sometimes help her across like ledges and stuff, but that's few and far between. You'd have to guide her. So the whole game is you're very agile, and you have to figure out how to make a path for Yorda, sort of, to kind of get to where you are, so you can progress. And the interesting thing about that is she's the only one who can open these like barriers that are all around the world that are like these statues or whatever that she uses like these lightning powers to like open or something. So you have to kind of get her through the game. So you can't just abandon Yorda and go through the game. The whole game is about your relationship with her and getting through this scenario together to try to escape this castle, basically, which is cool. And there's like this evil witch lady who's like trying to prevent you from doing that and stuff. And like a big part of the game is you're trying to open this one gate and stuff. And then there's like a part before that, and then there's a part after that where you're in like this cave, and that's like pretty much the worst part. I mean, it's interesting and stuff, but it's like just some of the jumps and stuff in that area. There's this one jump where you're like on this like really tiny ledge, and it's like there's like no way you can fuck up the jump. You just jump, but it's so hard to reach onto this other platform. It just is so infuriating, and if you fall, you die, and that's it, kind of thing. And it's just like, ugh. So there's like a few frustrating jumps in the game, but that was like the worst of them. They're few and far between, and for such a short game, I mean, my like I think that the game needed to be kind of the length that it is. That's kind of the perfect length because they kind of went into all of the stuff that they could get into with their systems and mechanics. They could have padded out the game with more and more stuff, but it would have kind of dragged after a while. Um, so yeah, but most of the game takes place in this castle, and you're kind of dragging along Yorda the whole time, and the like I said, the thing is, it's mostly about the atmosphere of all the areas that you're going through and figuring out what you can jump on and stuff, and it's really cool to go through that and kind of see the scale of things, and aesthetically, the game looks very visually like beautiful and whatnot. So it's a very atmospheric world that you're going through. And so it's kind of a journey. It's kind of your journey through this world. It's kind of one of those kind of games. But so you're going through, and the puzzles are they can be they're usually pretty simple, like I said, but they can get like really complex because they can span like multi rooms and stuff, and it's just you just kind of have to wrap your head around. Okay, if I do this, what does this affect in the grander scheme of things? So it's sort of like a Zelda dungeon in that aspect. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Most of the time, it's just like the noises of the world like enveloping you. But the music when it does come on is very good and satisfying and gratifying in the sense that really it makes the impact of whatever scene it's in more grand and sometimes emotional and whatnot. And that's the thing about the atmosphere of the game is pretty wordlessly. There are words, but most of it is just filler text. Pretty wordlessly, you get the sense of what this world is about, and you can kind of feel the narrative of the world, and you feel it in yourself, which is really cool. I think overall. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a very I mean, this was their first game, so it's a very experimental sort of. Can we make a game like this with this adventure game style where you lead this girl through the whole thing? And for something like that, for something pretty simple like that, it's actually pretty great. So I don't know if I still like it better than Shadow of the Colossus, but we're gonna have to find out. I remember that game having some really frustrating parts with some of the colossi, like the big water one and like the littler one that's like so hard to get a hold of and stuff. So like I don't know if that stuff will still hinder my experience. I am going to be playing the PS4 version this time versus the HD collection. Oh yeah, so I guess that's the thing. I did play Eco on the HD collection, so everything's really cleaned up, and they redid a lot of the graphics and that kind of stuff to look better, but the same style is there. So yeah, so that's a thing that I played it. Yeah, apparently you can play this in 3D, but like I never did that. I have a 3D TV sitting right there, so I could do it, like a Sony, uh, whatever their 3D TV was called or whatever. So it's like the perfect TV that this was meant for. So I could do it. I should do that sometime. I could have played it like that this time, but I didn't want to. So um, that would be interesting to do sometime. See how that is. Um, but yeah, overall, Eco like is pretty good. I definitely like it a lot. It's just a really unique kind of experience. I feel like a lot of games now, like a lot of indie games and stuff, it's like for example, that game I reviewed not too long ago, the robot and the girl or whatever, is very similar to something like this, in that sort of style. So I feel like some games have latched onto the same style, but I don't really feel like out of off the top of my head, unless you like add something like a Zelda game, which has so much more to it than this, and it has a whole world and stuff. Which yeah, that's kind of the thing about this game is it feels like one big dungeon, maybe like three big dungeons if you kind of count the acts, like the first part of the castle, then like the second part where you're trying to open the gate, and then like the third part in the cave that could be like the third dungeon. So maybe it's like three sort of dungeons or something, but it doesn't really have like an overworld. The castle itself is kind of the overworld, which is interesting because I feel like they saved the overworld for Shadow of the Colossus, because Shadow of the Colossus is more or less just overworld. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool. And I don't know where The Last Guardian fits into it, so we're gonna have to find out. That's the one game I haven't played out of these. But this is the remake for PS4 of Shadow of the Colossus. I haven't technically played this either. I played the Shadow of the Colossus on here, which is interesting and not too, it was good. It's just there were some problems, like I said, and basically, yeah. So in the Eco, let's finish that off first before I start talking about Shadow of the Colossus. Eco is a pretty great game. The music and the atmosphere and all that is impactful and emotional and stuff. And the story is kind of what you make of it. But you feel this relationship between Eco and Yorda, and really their journey is pretty cool to experience. So overall, it's a really cool experience. So it's great. I'd give it like an 8.5 or 6 out of 10, something like that. So still out of 10. Like, what would it be out of? Like, of course it'd be out of 10. But anyway, yeah, so it's great. So yeah, Shadow of the Colossus, like, I'm not going to be talking about this version. I'll be talking about this version now. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what they changed and what's different from the version that I played, or if it's just like a graphical update with, just all of that. So it'd be interesting to see. So stay tuned for that one. And until next time, this has been JZNES saying keep it classic. Stick around for more reviews and underrated games, and I'll see you in the next one. JZ